The sun is very much out in Melbourne today, and we've got this old girl on the stand, and we've got the young Bo here to help. How old are you, Bo?
12.
12. Have you ever worked on a bike before?
No.
No, well, this is your first time, so perfect time getting an absolute beginner to do all the work for me, and I'm just gonna have a beer and watch him do it. So let's get stuck into it. Yeah. Nice. So today's bike, obviously aimed at absolute beginners, someone that's potentially never done this before. So let's see what you need to actually do this. So in the bike, we're doing the single speed, the fixie. You do not need a whole heap of tools to get 95% of where we're gonna get with this bike. You could literally get away with a shifter and one of these cheap multi-tools because it has a chain breaker on it. So if you've got a multi-tool with a chain breaker and a shifter, you're honestly going to be able to get 95% of the way down to what we got on the bike today. That stops where you need some specialized tools, even to rip apart the most basic bikes, even if we're talking about a child's bike. And that comes into play with the bottom brackets. So that literally uses a special tool which goes into these splines here. You're not going to get that obviously on a multi-tool, and it's not a tool you're going to have lying around a shed. While I'm sure there's some ways you could butcher it out, that's obviously not going to happen. You're also going to need some sort of crank arm pulley tool to get the pedals and crank arms off. That pushes the crank arms off that bolt. So that's like a little pulling tool. So those are the two that you would not get in your standard toolkit that you might find in your shed, but you will need to strip a bike down to its absolute bare bones. As for recommendations, I love this kit so much. There's many available, many different names, many styles, but a lot of them feature this layout and have most of the same tools. Now, while I'd love a whole tool workshop of park tools, can't really justify that, and this one has done me well for years and years. It's got absolutely almost everything you need except for a few very specific special tools. It will absolutely get you a lot of the way there, and you can find toolkits like this anywhere from about 40 to 60 bucks, and maybe a little more, but obviously the price goes up with features and quality. I find the bike hand, even though this stuff's fairly generic and it can come unbranded as well, the bike hand stuff is pretty good, and they also offer special tools on top of what comes in the kits. So they have a really good selection. The quality is great for the price, and also it usually comes with almost everything you need to strip a bike down to its bare bones. So I've used this for a very long time, still in great condition, and I honestly just really enjoy it. We can go further and talk about other things I've got, like my park tool, truing stand, or derailleur hanger tools, all that sort of stuff. But for now, this is all you need. And if you're happy to put that initial sort of $50-ish investment into it, you're going to have a toolkit that's got stuff you can use in other projects too, but will have almost everything you need to strip a bike down to its bare bones. So, very big fan of this kit. So with the help of young Bo, we have this bike stripped down almost in its entirety. Looking really good. And because we made that sort of detailed list in the last episode before we went too far with this, there was really almost zero surprises with what we were going to find. So the only thing that I couldn't see when we did the list was this, the bottom bracket. Look, it's not that bad. It's internally rusted out, but the bearings are okay, but warrants replacing. So we're going to replace that. Other than that though, everything is pretty much as is. We knew the tyres were a bit shot, so that's going to get done. Otherwise, it's just a general tidy up. Obviously, we can see the frame a bit better. We can see the damage a bit more, but we knew that was the case. Other than that, it's ready just to get stuck in and get to it. No idea what they've used to grease the chain, but it's the same on the chain ring. It's thick. It's thick. It's rock hard, and none of my chemicals are doing anything so far. So we'll keep going. This one is going on the wire wheel though, I reckon. Decided I don't want to destroy the finish or the plating on this with the wire brush. So what I'm going to do is get some mineral terps, mineral spirits, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to put this in a shallow bowl, fill that with terps. And then I'm going to soak this rag in terps and sit it around there, tie it on, and let it sit for a while to soften it up. Hopefully. Looking at all that, I think the chain might be too far gone, so let's get a new one. While I'm waiting for the terps to do its work, I'm going to grab some of this, Scratch Doctor, any sort of cut and compound sort of thing. We're going to tidy this one up and see how much we actually need to touch up once we get rid of all the marks and stuff. So let's do that. So there we go. After maybe 5 minutes of cleaning, they look great. I wasn't expecting them to come up this good. Still a few chips and scuffs because it's a well-loved bike, but they look a million times better. Well, that took a long time, but here we are. Looks amazing. So soaking in terps. I got some grey Scotch Brite onto it. Huge difference, but wow, that grease was something else. It was just caked on. Horrible. So, other than an absolute excuse to use some child labour to help me sympathetically rebuild this bike, what have we learned from all this? Well, I think there's a few things I'm hoping you're going to take away from this. One, for a bike like this, special tools, you don't need too many of them to get it all the way down to nothing. Yes, they are handy, but you're starting out. You can easily get apart most of this bike and make it a much better bike just with your simple Allen keys, shifters, spanners, that sort of thing. Two, a little bit of polish and a little bit of cutting compound goes such a long way if the frame's in vaguely good condition or if the paint's in good condition. It can really bring up a bike. We had a lot of trouble with the grease on this one, but still just a bit of perseverance and some common sense. We got it looking great again. But the great thing about this is that it's literally up to you how far you want to go. Like in my case, I swapped out some wheels that I had in there because I liked the look of them, matched that to the bar tape. I had an old seat lying around. So I've essentially done a full rebuild, but it is up to you. You can take apart as much as you want and you're still making the bike better. Like essentially, we're saving these bikes from scrap. We're saving them from landfill. So just by taking apart what you can, lubricating, adjusting, doing a little bit to make it somewhat rideable means that you're saving it from landfill. You're saving it from being unloved in the back of a shed somewhere. And that's only a good thing in my opinion. So it really didn't take too much to get this bike looking a million times better and something I can be proud of. So 95% of the way there for me. I've got a couple of little clips coming just to tidy up these cable ties and stuff, but I think with very small amount of effort, and honestly, it was truly enjoyable. We've got a bike that looks fantastic and will honestly just provide some absolute joy and just be fun to ride. So I really hope that you've just taken away that you don't have to do too much. You don't have to invest too much to get started in this. When you've done 1, 2 bikes and you think, oh, this is great, I'm enjoying this, that's when you go out and start buying the special tools or the bigger kits or all those sort of things. But for now, just dip your toes into it. Buy a cheap bike, rip it apart, see how you go. And that's the best way to learn, in my opinion. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know what your first bike that you restored was, or if I haven't suggested a nice tool for a beginner or something like that, or a nice tip, please leave it down in the comments below. I've only scratched the surface. There will definitely be a part 3 coming, but for now, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. It totally helps me out, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.